I've only been studying psychology concepts for about 2 years now, and biases and fallacies and narcissistic tendencies and whatnot. But in that short period of time, I figured out that my grandmother is a grandiose narcissist because she only texts back whenever it's about her, and she expects people to just, you know, uh, basically serve her in a way. She thinks she's right in everything she does, just like my dad does. And the reason that all three of the girls that she raised pick men that are about the same, or did, um, except for the middle aunt, and that's she picked somebody that was a little outside her comfort zone, but she actually picked well. Now, the other two, they always picked grandiose narcissists themselves because that is what they felt was familiar. The since the person that raised them was a grandiose narcissist, they chose grandiose narcissists as their partners in life. And my dad's a perfect example of that. He will not listen. And the other day when I talked to him, I mean, he, to get him to listen, he would say, he'd stop speaking, but whenever I'd ask a question, he would be like, okay, do you want me to answer now? That means he was just sitting there thinking of a reply rather than actually trying to listen or understand anything. He doesn't want to understand anybody else's perspective other than his own skewed perspective of religion, and I just don't want to hear it. I mean, it's just like that's the main reason he joined the church he joined was so, because they're all separate, and so if they go corrupt, only one church will go corrupt. It won't be all of them, because a lot of other religions that are all connected somehow with some like a charter, like in some way, form, or fashion. But his version is completely different from what he used to believe and why he chose the first church he chose. His morals or reasonings behind things have took a major shift, but they isolate themselves and they only get information from people that agree with them while throwing out all the other information they might receive that is more than likely, true. If it doesn't go along with their pre-existing beliefs, then they won't believe it. Even it doesn't matter how good or how true it may be, they will simply just toss it out. But if it goes along with what they already want to believe, they'll believe it in a heartbeat. Like it's something negative about me, they'll believe it in a second, rather than believing all the good things that you know that should be said. And that's just sad. But that's a small picture of the bigger problem with the entire country. We are so divided on every single topic when we should be united and paying more attention and watching the track records of all the people that somehow got into office. And that's just people just don't pay attention to what's actually going on. But if you go to my website and research anything that's going on the way I do, you won't get any ads, you won't get any biases or anything else. You'll just get absolute facts. And people, uh, the truth is actually pretty interesting now. It's a lot more interesting than you think. But I wouldn't believe. I don't take anything. Even from a doctor, I research things that they prescribe me before even taking them. When a doctor prescribes them. And I found that a dentist and a chiropractor are better doctors than half the doctors around here in this specific county. And that's, and the healthcare in this county isn't very good either. It needs some work. Even though it's the most expensive, it still needs a whole lot of work because active listening skills are few and far between. And that is the biggest problem. We are not listening to each other. We're not, actually spreading the truth. We're just spreading, partial truths or possibly lies rather than, actual things. And we're not getting our information from good, reliable sources and verifying and fact checking before we spread things. That is the main problem with, what's going on in the country right now.